Ladies and gentlemen, football fans of North Central Ohio, you are now entering the Friday Night Pigskin. So get strapped in, lay some tide, and get right for big hits, top plays, and highlights. All coming your way from under the Friday night lights. The most exciting sounds and sights, gridiron action to serve your viewing delights. Let's go. Friday night, Friday night lights.
We start third quarter action. Cross the 30, cross the 40, cross midfield. 30, Trader, 20, can he get there? 10, 5, he's pushed into the end zone. What a way to start the second half. And there go the lights. We start.
Hey, what's up, football family? Thanks for burning the midnight oil with us here on the Friday Night Pigskin, presented exclusively by Spherion, Mid-Ohio. I'm Brian Skowronki with you yet again for another year of awesome stuff, and the wait is over. Week one is in the books now. We had a bunch of crazy performances, some big-time highlights. We had some nail-biters at the end of the games. I mean, I am just flying high right now. Friday Night Football is back, and since I'm kind of soaring right now, let's keep with that theme, and we're going to begin our first highlight of the night. I think we got 10 or 11 of these things. Let's begin over at the Falcons' Nest, where Hillsdale was taking on Black River, a team that they took care of in week one last year. And some new personnel this season for the Falcons. How would they fare early on in the season? Well, pretty well, as you are about to see. Start with a big touchdown pass here. 40-yard dime right out of the gate. Falcons go up early. And now this is just the second play of the drive. It's Cal Lewis, 32-yard pass, and he's going to hook up with Brock Bauer after that Holland Young touchdown. The Falcons off to a great start here on opening night. Still more coming from the first quarter. Big touchdown run coming. They were multiple on this night offensively. They're going to bring Hayden McFadden in motion. He gets it. He gets the edge, and ain't nobody going to catch this kid. You can lay a finger on him, but ain't nobody is going to get him. McFadden 52 yards into the zone, and it is quickly a three-score game. Hillsdale out in front at home. We'll advance you here to the second quarter now, and maybe you've heard the name already, Cal Lewis. Yeah, he had a big-time performance on the night. Here he is, dropping more bombs right into the bucket. 24-yard pass. That's Holland Young, his second hookup of the night. This would make it a four-score game in favor of the Falcons. Still in the second quarter. It's Lewis again down in the red zone play action. He sees Brock Bauer after he rolls out to his right, and he just drops it right in the barrel. This dude, unbelievable performance. We'll see Lewis again here in the second quarter. Another 7-yard touchdown pass coming up to Brock Bauer, and I think after that, you guys will kind of get the picture. This dude starting his career with some fireworks. Black River would eventually score late in the game when it was already decided. A running clock to begin the second half, but Hillsdale, they would roll on this night. They win it big, 44-12. So the Falcons, under head coach Trevor Klein, they've really had things rocking and rolling here lately. But since it's late and I got to get some of my energy back up, let's bring in maybe the most energetic guy that I've ever met in my whole life, Zach Truax, who made his OH.Report football debut on the call tonight. Yeah, that's right, over in Falcons country. Zach, dude, I mean, we thought that Hillsdale had a couple of holes to fill coming into this season, but I think they answered a lot of questions with what they did tonight.
Yeah, Jack Fickus is gone this year. They're a great dual threat quarterback from last year. Does not matter. Plug Cale Lewis in. His three-headed monster I talked about early in the game, those three wide receivers, and they diced up Black River pretty soundly. It was over by the end of the first half. It might have been over by the end of the first quarter.
And we saw last year the same matchup, and Black River didn't fare so well again. Tell me about maybe the focus and the mindset that you saw from them coming on the road this year.
Yeah, talked to Black River's head coach going into the game. He was really impressed how Hillsdale was hitting on all cylinders last year to start the year, and he said, "That's what we want to do. We want to come in. We want to be hitting on all cylinders." And their first drive, I think they had a penalty. They went backwards twice, and they could never get the train on the tracks and going and keep pace with Hillsdale. Hats off to Trevor Klein. He takes over for Coach Williams, who really put that program on the map, and they have kept that train rolling. They have 8 straight playoff appearances now. It'll be 9 straight this year, without a doubt.
And that's because of our first nominee of the season. Let's bring up all those beautiful highlights that we just saw from this sophomore quarterback. You talked about Jack Fickus, what a dynamic playmaker he was for the last couple of years for the Falcons. And Kel, I mean, look at these numbers, man. 5 tutties all in the first half. Come on, man. That's like a video game.
Look at him throwing his kids open too. You know, that pass when he let go and you listen to me call that game. I say he's throwing the coverage. That was great coverage. You can't take anything away from the blocker defender there. It was covered, and he just threw it where his guy could get to it. Another one right here. The Black River guy closes late, but he just puts it where it needs to be. Touchdown. And he does it a couple more times tonight where there's a touchdown he throws in the corner of the end zone in the second quarter where it's one of those ones where you go, yeah, I think this might be it right now. This is the one. This is the one he drops in the bucket. There's one later he throws in the corner of the end zone. Only his guy can get it. If his guy doesn't get this one, it's going out of bounds. And that's exactly what you want out of a quarterback. And a lot of times you don't see that until they're seniors. This guy's doing it as a sophomore. You're right here. He's under pressure, rolls out to his right. Look. If his guy doesn't catch that, that goes out of bounds. You can't throw any better than that. And then to have the trust in your wide receivers to pull it in and get the touchdown. Hillsdale's off to a great start.
Yeah, the Falcons look like they're reloaded yet again, Zach, and it sounds like you're off to a great start. Week 1 of the high school football season. I know that you brought the action, the fun here tonight on our airwaves. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to probably sit down tomorrow, go through some of your game because I know that it had to come with like some parental discretion or at least maybe turn down the volume. I know you get a little bit geeked up for these.
I love it. You know, as much as I love wrestling, high school, I let off with it at the beginning of the game. Friday Night Lights in the United States of America is the best tradition we have. I fully believe it. Communities come together. People come together. Get to watch the boys. Football is a tribal sport, and we're a tribal nation. And it's our toughest kids against your toughest kids. The lights are on. It's nothing better. I love wrestling, but Friday Night Lights is nothing better.
Yeah, man, it definitely gets the juices flowing, man. So I'm looking forward to 9 more weeks of this, then into the postseason it goes. But let's really just relish week 1 while it's here. Zach Truax, good talking to you, buddy. We'll be catching up soon.
Hey, catch you guys soon. Thanks for making me part of the football broadcast. We're really looking forward to it every week. And the best part of my night is really driving Adam Thompson crazy. It really is the best part.
Yeah, he's over here giving me the thumbs up that he can confirm that is true. All right. So let's go from small town America, where I think it even gets a little bit better, of course, in these small towns. We begin at Hillsdale. Let's just travel a little bit over in Ashland County, where I was tonight, out in Cougar Country. And for Crestview, they had a lot of babies in the lineup last year. Still made the playoffs, but there were some big-time high expectations. People were expecting the Cougars to really handle business in this Week 1 matchup against Seneca East. And right out of the gates, as you're about to see, it looked like it just might be the Cougars' night. Second play from scrimmage right here, and guess what? That's Aiden Raymer, house call. Quickly gets ghost down the sideline. No one really even touched him. He's a track star. 58-yard touchdown, 53 seconds into the game, and you're like, yep, Cougars are for real. Instantly though. How about this response at the end of the first quarter? That's Bryler Beamer, who makes a 36-yard catch in the back of the end zone. Here's his boy, Taylor Young, senior, all N10 performer last year, breaks in first lead of the season for Seneca East. A little bit later on, he's getting lost. I'm not sure how. Behind everybody, 63 yards. Nobody gets a pinky on him. And then Young again. How about a hat trick in the second quarter alone? This dude had an unbelievably special night. And how about keeping the balance in? Just enough to dive in. That made it 28-7 late in the second quarter. And it was over from there. Crestview never really responded or bounced back. They got stopped in the red zone multiple times as Seneca East walks out of Cougar Country, a 35-20 winner. I got to tell you, I was very impressed. Sean Adams was on the call with me tonight, and there was a couple of big guys down in the trenches for the Tigers that just Crestview didn't have an answer for. At the beginning of the game, I think that they caught them off balance a little bit with their speed, and then they just started going for man for man with them. They were sending blitzes, and they were pretty much just saying, hey, you guys can throw the ball down the field. Liam Kuhn wasn't able to do it. He ended up getting pulled late in that game. He only had like 4 or 5 completions, missed a bunch of wide open receivers too. So for Crestview, with Kirtland coming in on Thursday night, a short week too, a perennial powerhouse in the history of the state, it's going to be really tough for the Cougars not to go 0-2. But Seneca East, man, how can you not smile if you're a fan of the Tigers? A lot of question marks for them. Blake Foose, their signal caller last year, threw for 2,000 yards, ran for 1,000 yards. What are they going to do? They found a guy that mixed the drink here tonight. You saw him peppering the ball all over the field. So I'm really excited about the Tigers off to a great 1-0 start. All right, I'm going to now turn it over to Mr. Travis Berardi. He's got a couple more highlights coming up for you that I think you guys are going to want to see. Trav?
And I'm here with Madeline Zizzuto as always. I think we're always teamed up here on Friday Night Pigskin. Good to have you back. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing well. Like the hair. You were on 2 games. You had a Thursday night game highlight last night. But first, you had the rivalry between Madison and Shelby. Madison celebrating the 100th year of being a high school. Congratulations to that. But didn't go that well on the football side, did it, Madeline?
No, it did not for them. We're going to roll the highlights right now. Shelby hosted Madison for their season opener tonight. Everyone's excited, ready for the game.
Everybody's 0-0.
Yes. Shelby strikes first with a Brady DeVito pass to Avery Lambert for a 50-yard touchdown play. They opened the score 7-0 late in the first quarter. Now, in the second quarter, DeVito had his first rushing touchdown of the night of 6 yards, making the score 13-0 with a failed extra point attempt. And later in the second quarter, Madison made their first score with a 4th-and-1 rush from Carey Favors after a blocked extra point attempt. The first half would end 13-6 Shelby. And here is sophomore Brady Bowman making his debut, effortlessly reaching the end zone off a 2-yard rush. And the Whippets then went for 2 and converted. And that's what we're watching right now.
Yeah, Brady DeVito, another player like Bogdan Miller that can show out in the MOAC, and he's got 3 players around him.
Yeah, all young too. And now in the final minute of the third, the Rams, Colton Adkins found Justin McCraney in the back corner of the end zone after nearly dropping it. They then also scored the 2 to make it 21-14.
Upset city here, possibly. Madison down only 7 late.
And Shelby answered 5 seconds later, actually, as Marcus Gumbert dodged his way into the end zone from 10 yards out. The PAT was good. It's 28-14 in the fourth. And sophomore Bowman put a cap on his night, cashing in via a 33-yard DeVito pass. The 2-point was no good. It's 34-14. And then Shelby sealed the deal with the DeVito 1-yard rushing touchdown.
There he is.
The game ended 40-14.
So, like you said, it was a close game.
In the first
At the half, it was a 7-point game. It was 21-14 late in the third. What changed for Shelby after that point? Because they looked like the Shelby Whippets after their rolling away.
Yeah, well, I talked to Braden after the game, and he said that they're all just super young. A lot of them, this was their first game playing on varsity. The sophomore, did great too. I think their nerves just toned down. They locked in. They were like, you know what? We got this. Put those plays in the past. Let's move on. And that's what they did.
And with a playmaker like Braden DeVito, like I said, like a Bogdan Miller, one of those players that can change a game, having him lead the way probably makes those younger kids a little bit more comfortable on the field.
Yeah, definitely. He was definitely the leader of the night, for sure.
Working double duty, though, tonight. Last night, we kicked things off officially for the high school football season. You went to Heisey Park as Galion took on Wynford last year at Wynford. A really close game. You saw that live and free on the OH.Report 1 year ago. But a little bit different this year as Galion. Same result in the win and loss column, but Galion a little bit of a bigger margin.
We had a running clock.
That's more than a little bit of a winning margin there, right?
So let's see how it happened. It's Thursday night football at Heisey Park. Galion is taking on Wynford. Again, 0-0. We're ready. Jacob Chambers kicked off the night with a 32-yard touchdown catch from Aiden Schmidt, making the score 7-0 Galion. Yeah, Missed it, but got it done. On the kickoff return, Wynford then, I don't want to spoil it, they fumbled the ball.
Oh no, coughed it up.
Yep, and this gives the Tigers a quick score via a 9-yard rushing touchdown from Braxton Prosser.
Prosser's going to be good this year
Yep,
too.
13-0. Yep, and then the Royals actually struck back with a 33-yard touchdown caught by Anthony Evan, thrown by Braden Campbell. It's now 13-7 with less than a minute in the first, and now Prosser then found Chambers for his second score of the night for a 24-yard touchdown.
Just outran everybody.
Yes, 27 now. The Tigers then started to pull away, starting with Braxton Prosser's 11-yard rush, making it 27-7 in the second. The Campbell-Prosser duo, they struck again with a 27-yard connection, making the score at the half 34-7. But just watch. I mean, no one can catch this guy. Yeah, guys are dodging left and right. They can't catch him, and he trots in. There he goes.
Slippery guys, aren't they?
Yep, and starting off the third, Galion Sam Evans ran 23 yards into the end zone, putting Galion up 41-7. And with less than a minute left, this is Cale Early. He rushed 30 yards into the end zone, and they go for two, and they get it. The score is 49-7, going into the fourth. And finally, Wynford did have something to build on for next week as Anthony Evans ran in from 4 yards out for their final score of 49-13, Galion winning.
So, Galion, they're good. We
They're
had our media show 2 nights ago at WQEL, and a lot of media pundits said that Galion, they have a chance if they started off strong. They did on Thursday night, that they could be one of those teams at the top of the MOAC. Now for Wynford, though, is there anything they can build on from that week 1 moving to week 2? Because it's early enough that they can bounce back.
When they throw the ball, they catch it. So they just need to really work on that. And if they can capitalize off of throwing the ball and catching it, then their run game, I think they could have some success.
And if they can contain these runners,
yes,
get some tackles, it probably help
Galion's
out, right?
hard because they have so many just fast.
They have athletes.
Yeah.
And that's what you have at Galion. That's why last year they started off, I think, 5 or 6-0 until they ran into an Ontario and a Shelby. And they returned some pieces. They do lose Gabe Ivey, but they have Prosser and company to do some things like that. So it's going to be interesting to see both of these teams as we move forward.
Definitely, yeah.
Thank you very much, Madeline.
Thank you for
awesome having
me.
you back. Can't wait to work with you throughout the season.
Of course.
There was one other Thursday night game that we had, and we had it for you right here on the OH.Report, and Brian Skowronki has the clips. Send it back to you, Ski.
Thanks, Trav. Yeah, we was over in North Robinson last night for a game that went down to the wire a season ago. The River Pilots on the road at Colonel Crawford. Shane Young was with me over there, and we thought, you know, there was a few holes to fill here for Crawford, at least decimated on paper by graduation. But did they ever find some dudes that could come out, show out on both sides of the football?
Well, let's look. First things first. Last year when they played, you know, it was a 1-point victory from Crawford. Now you come out to North Robinson this year. River comes out to North Robinson, and they get smoked. 55-13 is that final score. Now there was a lot of holes to fill. They had, I think Coach told me, about 9 seniors that graduated last year. So a lot of holes to fill, but they looked amazing on the field last night. I mean, they were just scoring left and right in every quarter.
Yeah, let's go ahead and roll the highlights. We'll show you how Crawford got it done last night at home to open up the season at 1-0. And you want to talk about some beef in the backfield? How about a center turned quarterback and throwing darts at the beginning of the game, Shane? And we were like, uh-oh. Like, we watched this kid warm up. We couldn't believe that he was a quarterback, and then he's throwing missiles for touchdowns?
Yes, sir. We were looking at him from last year. You know, him being a center last year is just absolutely crazy that he's able to sling the rock like that. Well, let's look at this. He throws, we have about a 15-ish yard slant. You know, they answer right back from that touchdown that kind of faked them out on that first drive from River. And, you know, they open back up, they 7-7. We got a tie ball game.
And then Crawford, they just kind of poured it on from there. The running game, they put so many different dudes in the backfield. You'll see one kind of stood out by the end of the night, but it seems like so multiple on the offensive side of the football. They can sling it a little bit, but this is where they really shined. Connor McMichael, I mean, just get out of his way.
Yes, sir. Connor McMichael, he was that guy on Thursday night. I mean, he had, 3 touchdowns, 175 yards. I mean, big holes from the O-line. And that's one thing I do want to point out. When we talked to him last night, that was his number one thing that he got to was he was thankful for the O-line, giving them those holes to run big touchdowns, 3 of them. That's absolutely crazy to come out here week 1 and score like that.
Speaking of 3 touchdowns, how about the second one on the night? He also made a couple of crazy grabs too. One of them didn't even count. He almost made a third right in front of my camera down on the sideline. But the big boys up front, there they are for the Eagles. They were churning up ground. They were making holes, creating space. And the physicality, Shane, after the first quarter, it really stood out. I mean, the fans knew. They could tell that when you're in Crawford country, I mean, you just cannot compete when they're playing like this, and especially when you got boys toting the rock like that.
Absolutely. I mean, I think for Crawford, they just won in the trenches. Offensively and defensively, they were able to stop Rivers' run game. Once they figured out their pass attack, they were able to stop that. We had a lot of QB draws, QB options from River. They shut everything down defensively and offensively. As even as we see here, we got a little slip screen, and I mean, he just takes it all the way to the house. No one catches him. That's, I mean, the blocking to build this play, absolutely incredible. And like I said, it all comes down to the trenches in this game, and Crawford easily won that.
But dude, I mean, just like the family atmosphere down there too. They got the couches all strung out behind the goal lines. Everybody's out there, the front line crew. And then what's not to cheer about when you're enjoying runs like this over and over again? The Eagles drop over 50 on the night. Big winners, and really impressed with them, Shane.
Absolutely, I am too. I'm looking forward to see these Eagles the rest of the season. And honestly, as a Wynford alumni, I'm ready for that game too.
They do that week 10, is that right? Do you guys save that for the very last game?
Might be the middle of the season.
Have to look at the schedule here.
Have to look at the schedule again, but definitely excited to see this Crawford team, especially knowing some of the coaches almost personally. They seem pretty excited. I'm excited for them, and I'm just ready to see how they do the rest of the season.
Yeah, reloaded yet again under Jake Bruner. It seems like another very formidable playoff team, and maybe could challenge Carey in the Northern 10 title race. We'll show you what the Blue Devils did coming up a little bit later in the show. We're going to take a break, though, right now. When we come back, we've got the backyard rivalry, Lexington at Ontario, and then we've got that Carey highlight coming up. Stay with us.
You have better things to do than to job hunt or scramble to find your next great hire. So let Spherion do it. We say local is our superpower because we live and work where you live and work. We know the Mid-Ohio job market, and we're locally owned. So you won't find a partner who's more engaged and literally invested in your success. If you're ready for something better, start with Spherion. Visit us online at midohiojobs.net or call 419-747-7479.
More than Crown, we are the real people behind Crown CDJR of Dublin. Every member of our sales team is dedicated to providing you an excellent customer experience.
Find the right vehicle for you and your lifestyle is a Crown Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram today, the better way to buy.
Instead of paying for some big-name spokesperson, Kasasa Checking gives that money back to you in cash rewards. In fact, you just bought me this cup of coffee. See how that works? Amazing! Free checking, cash rewards. Take back banking with Kasasa.
Welcome to Richland County's first artificial intelligence ATM. And if you car dance to the song you're listening to now, I will give you $50. See, that's something an ATM can never do.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Oh, we're serious.
Gosh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. We hope your day is a little bit better today.
Yes, thank you.
right now with my favorite in all of North Central Ohio. These two, they just plain don't like each other in any sport. The fans get into it. Probably the two best fan bases at least going back and forth at each other. And both of the football teams did exactly that tonight on the gridiron over at NIST Stadium. Let's show you how it all shook out. Lexington, dude, they've got, it seems like, so much hype coming into the season. So does Bob Penn Miller, but not on this play. Right out the gate, Seven Allen rips it away, and he's going to take it 85 yards down the sideline. Pick six. It's 7-0 Lexington on the road. And then a little bit later, Seven's going deep this time, and they're going to find him. He breaks away. Well, never mind. It was 14-0 Lexington, and then Bob Penn Miller throws it deep to Noah Poole, and then he would do that again to bring Ontario within one. It's 14-13. They would then get Mason Van Tilburg the ball. A 3-yard rush up the middle gives Ontario their first lead of the night, and Bob Penn was not done. He's going to extend the lead, drops back to pass. The pressure comes. You already know what the Ohio State commit's going to do. He breaks out of there. Nobody can catch him. It's 28-13, and they would cap it off with one more Van Tilburg touchdown coming up here from 13 yards out to put the game on ice as Ontario wins it 31-14 at home to take the backyard rivalry for the second consecutive season. Off to a nice start yet again under Aaron Eckert. So a big-time game right there, a big performance, of course, by Bob Penn and Van Tilburg and the boys, and it didn't get off to a hot start for them, but they recovered and they hung in there. There's a lot of young moving pieces and parts out there. I know I'm hearing a lot of Ontario folk talk about what's going to be down the line here with the freshman class coming up. Some of them are getting playing time right now, but mixing in right now with those talented seniors that they have. And it seems like Ontario, they've just got a recipe right now. They've got a nose for winning at the end of the game, and that's what they were able to do tonight. And for Lexington, this was a team, I read all the headline and the press clippings, and I'm a part of the media vote, and I'm one of the very few to not put them at number one in the OCC. A lot of people are on them this season to have a big year. Maybe they will, just didn't happen tonight, and probably the game that they circled the biggest on the calendar, maybe outside of that OCC, but I know this one's got to hurt if you're a member of the purple and gold. Let's now send it back over to me, because we're keeping the highlights rolling right here with my boy, Jonathan Langdon, joining me.
Yes,
so
sir.
many highlights, Jonathan, to keep up with. Week one, man, what a crazy time. And for you, I was mentioning how much I love the Lexington-Ontario rivalry, but you were at a game tonight too, traditional week one rivals. It's gone back and forth. Both of these teams, they've been exceptional in postseason play. You had a good one, buddy.
Yes, Hopewell-Loudon and Carey, two very, very good teams, especially in the last couple of years. And it did not disappoint here tonight. And we're going to look at these highlights. Hopewell-Loudon was 12-1 last year, and Carey was 10-3, two top squads in small town football in the state of Ohio. You see the first touchdown there by the 6'1", 240 Eli Steen. And then Braylon Martinez would respond for Hopewell-Loudon. That tied it up in the second quarter. And here's Martinez again, spin move, shifts it to the outside, and he would end up getting knocked out of bounds, but that would lead to another touchdown. So those two, Steen and Martinez, were our spotlight players, and they both showed out in a big way. You're going to see Martinez later. There's the touchdown from Matt Wyman off the pass from Jacoby Ellis. Then you'll see Carey strike in the fourth quarter. We're jumping all the way to the fourth quarter. It was a scoreless third. Trip Phoenix ends up getting all the way to the end zone. That gives them a slight lead, but then the very next play, you see this outbreak from Hopewell-Loudon. Martinez looks like he's going to get to the end zone, but doesn't quite, because the 6'7", yeah, you heard that right, 6'7" Bryce Puckett caught him in the before he could get to the end zone. Then you see, flashing forward, Carey. They were able to tie this one up, and then they went for the 2-point conversion instead of tying it up. So it was 21-20. They went for two. Eli Steen got it, and it left about 3 minutes left for Hopewell-Loudon to drive all the way down the field and score with just 16 seconds left on the clock. Hopewell-Loudon, they finish it off. They beat Carey for the second year in a row.
So tell me a little bit more about that game-winning drive, because 2-quarterback system for them over there at Hopewell-Loudon, and this wasn't even their main dude out there.
Yeah, Jacoby Ellis was the one that actually ended up taking the last drive because he's their passing quarterback, and he was fantastic. 79 yards down the field, a bunch of completions to all sorts of receivers. He was looking at everyone. No number one target over there at Hopewell-Loudon. They've got a bunch of dudes on wide receivers, tight ends. Jacoby Ellis, I'll tell you what, 16 of 23, 231 yards. That's a pretty darn good college score, and he put that up in his debut for Hopewell-Loudon. Future's bright, sophomore, Jacoby Ellis, remember the name.
And I'm kind of remembering the highlight too, a Bigfoot sighting out there on special teams. Just a 6'7" dude with that kind of a speed. Where else did this guy play on the field? Because you can't keep him a secret.
Yeah, was playing tight end. He didn't get any touches catching the ball, but you put him on special teams, he showed off his speed, maybe he'll get more looks after that one.
So you talked about the fact that two of these teams, traditional week 1 rivals, all the winning that they've done these last few years. Just your take on what you saw in week 1. Who do you feel like moving forward, and it's a long way to go, will end up having more wins in the regular season?
You're talking about Hopewell-Loudon and Carey?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think Hopewell-Loudon's going to pull off a really big year from them. They lost so many pieces. They lost Evan Crease, who was their top quarterback last year, but seeing how everyone else stepped up, we talked about our player spotlight, Braylon Martinez. While he was huge in that game, there were so many other pieces. They only had 57 rushing yards. Martinez is their running back. They had 225 passing yards.
Wow.
That's what got it done for them, and if they can keep that up the entire season, the sky's the limit.
Carey's really been known for their physicality the last few years, but last year they graduated some absolute monsters, some mutants down in the trenches. Did it seem like it was the same type of physical force Carey team? They just ran into another buzzsaw, of course.
Yeah, I think Carey's going to be just fine. This is a very good loss for them, 5 points. They lose it at the very last moment. This could have gone either way. Now for the rivalry between Carey and Colonel Crawford, I'm looking at Crawford, and it's a much more impressive win from them putting up 55 points, but you can't be mad if you're a Carey fan at how this one turned out. Of course you want to see the win, but you were just like this last year. You went 0-2 to start last year, and then they pulled off the 10-game win streak, went undefeated in conference play. But I think Carey is completely fine with how this went, and I think it'll just be kind of a chip on their shoulder as they keep going.
In Jonathan Merschman, I trust they are going to be just fine.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Jonathan. So let's now take a look inside of some KMAC highlights. And if we're going to do that, who better to lead the ship than our very own KMAC Trav?
Welcome back to another season of the KMAC Corner. I am KMAC Trav, Big League Berardi, whatever you want to call me. And Shane Young, he's in here. He was at the Castle tonight. That's going to be right down the line, but we have our first highlight of the night from the KMAC, and that comes from Mount Gilead High School. And let's just get right to the highlight. Roll that beautiful bean footage. Opening night down at Mount Gilead, or what I like to call the 8th fairway at Augusta. Big hopes for the Indians this season, returning a lot of players, and it sure showed on this night. First Mount Gilead offensive drive. Carson Trainer running a very effective play I run on College Football 25. That's the jet sweep. He works his way in. It is 7-0 Indians. A kickoff, and 3 plays later, and the defense is going to get in on this game. That punt had no chance of passing the line of scrimmage. It's blocked. Cam Vickers picks it up, and it's 2 touchdowns in a minute. It's 13-0 in favor of the home squad. 20-0 now in the second quarter, but Triad gets back on the board. Awesome Mitchell, what a name, gets to the sideline and reaches across the plane. It's 20-6. Indians led 27-6 at the break. Start of the second half, and here comes your call of the night and my top play nominee. Trainer barely touched through the line, gets a big block here, and he is off to the races. But does he have enough juice to get home? Maybe not, but he gets a friendly shove from behind from a trailing Cardinal. 82 yards, 33-6 Mount Gilead. They got a strong statement opening night, 46-19 over Triad. That is how you start a season, Mr. Young.
Now, me watching this, I mean, they looked phenomenal on every side of the ball.
Yes, they did.
Even like special teams, 2 touchdowns from special teams.
Yes, they did.
That is
all aspects.
That's what you want out of a football team. I have to ask you, out of any young player, old player, who would be like your X factor or your phenom?
Well, first off, Trainer had that jet sweep touchdown. He had the kickoff return touchdown, but he is not. My Phenom nominee for tonight is one Cam Vickers, because Cam Vickers did it all on the night. 21 carries, 161 yards, and a touchdown rushing. He recovered the touchdown in the end zone right here in this highlight, as you can see it right now. Beautiful block, and he is right there to pick it up. Had a rushing touchdown, but wait, there is more. He also had a sack in this game. He did literally everything you could think of.
Everything.
Offense, defense, special teams, just bowling people over. 200 pounds was he. He was our MVP as well. Got the lights going on and off the whole night. But then what's so impressive, he's such a big kid, but he has so much speed. Gets the quarterback there for the sack late. They have a lot of players like that, but tonight, my Phenom nominee for the week is one Cam Vickers. Congratulations, Cam. What an effort by Mount Gilead, a team that, hey, if they keep playing like this, they could play spoiler in the Northmor Athletic Conference and compete for their second ever playoff appearance. They've been a school since the late 1800s. They've had only 10 conference championships ever. But this team could have a chance at their second playoff appearance if they continue to do that. Another team that's been making playoff appearances, though, is a game you saw, the Northmor Golden Knights, one of the favorites to win the Northmor Athletic Conference, taking on Upper Sandusky. They handled them last year on the road, but it seems like they did it a little bit more at home this year.
Absolutely. Last year they took over the Rams 42-21. This year, didn't look so hot. It was 14, at the end of this game. For your Knights, I mean, those are your boys. I mean, they definitely.
I had a feeling they'd start off strong.
Oh, they did more than that. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at these touchdowns. So we start off the game, a 60-yard bomb downfield to Jackson Wenger. I mean, immediately. Most of this night they were just throwing bombs downfield.
AJ Bauer to Jackson Wenger. I'm thinking a Bo Landon sighting too.
Now let's look at it here. Carson Campbell. I mean,
running attack, great.
Or excuse me, Cameron Goldbach. Just 50 yards to the house. Then you got Carson Campbell here. He's going to take it right up the middle, and he's going to go score the third touchdown in the first quarter. It's the first quarter, and they're up 21-0 on the Rams. Now, you're thinking, okay, the Rams, they're going to go down in here and try and score. Nope, that's not what's going to happen. We have a pick six on the way from, guess who? Jackson Wenger.
He's good on both sides of the ball, isn't he?
Absolutely. He was a monster tonight, scoring on both sides of the ball. Then we move on to yet another touchdown from, guess who? Number 21, Cohen Becker, excuse me. I mean,
so many playmakers.
So many playmakers on this team, all over the place. Let's go with another touchdown to end off the second quarter, right up the middle. Another touchdown. They're up huge
they run the
in the whole first
by
half.
the way. They throw the ball, they run the ball, and they run the Wildcat.
Now, Upper comes out to open up the second half, and they get a little touchdown. With
momentum.
Yes, sir. With Ethan Lewis scoring their first touchdown of the game. And then let's look at here. We have yet another touchdown from the Golden Knights. Basically, running away with this game. Upper's got almost no chance of coming back, but they don't want to give up. You know, they want to in the game. It's about how you finish. It's not how you begin. It's how you finish. And Ethan Lewis yet again with another touchdown for these Upper Sandusky Rams. The Golden Knights, compared to last year against the Rams, they topped that. They looked way better.
They had Carson Holman too.
Exactly. I expected maybe a little more out of the Rams. But they're the type of team where they start off maybe a little slow, and as the season progresses, they start picking it up and they start showing what they can do towards the end of the season.
Well, they also next week get up. Mount Gilead squad that you just
yes,
saw
sir.
Put on a show this week coming to Upper Sandusky. But let's talk about the Golden Knights. They lost some players on the offensive and defensive lines, but it looked like that wasn't the case.
It looked like it didn't matter at all. It looked like how they did last year. They were just dominating on offense and defense. It looked like nothing changed at all, like they have the same players as they've had years before.
And Northmor always having the rushing attack. They have a two-headed monster once again. But let's talk about the All-Ohio quarterback in A.J. Bauer, the All-Ohio receiver in Jack Swinger, who's doing it both sides, and then who should have been All-Ohio receiver, but Bo Landon as well, big play Bo.
Yes, sir.
It seems like this is one of the most complete Northmor teams that they have seen.
Yeah, watching AJ tonight, he threw 10 for 13, 321 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I mean, every time the ball was snapped to him, something good was happening. Whether it was a touchdown, a big play, 2 big play bow. I mean, every play it seemed like they were just either going to score or they were going to get on the other side of the field.
They always say, what's the best thing about being 1-0?
You're undefeated.
You have a chance of going 2-0, and both Mount Gilead and Northmor have a chance to do that next week. Northmor will be hosting Mapleton in the game I'll be calling with Ken Parrott live and free. As well, Mount Gilead heads to Upper Sandusky. But we're going to take a break, and then we're going to wrap things up here on the Friday Night Pigskin. When we come back, we got another highlight, Ashland River Valley, and then we got our boy Andy Jardy, who's been working hard all night at Jardy HQ. We got all that coming up after the break.
You have better things to do than to job hunt or scramble to find your next great hire. So let Spherion do it. We say local is our superpower because we live and work where you live and work. We know the Mid-Ohio job market, and we're locally owned. So you won't find a partner who's more engaged and literally invested in your success. If you're ready for something better, start with Spherion. Visit us online at midohiojobs.net or call 419-747-7479.
More than Crown, we are the real people behind Crown CDJR of Dublin. Every member of our sales team is dedicated to providing you an excellent customer experience.
Find the right vehicle for you and your lifestyle is a Crown Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram today, the better way to buy.
Instead of paying for some big-name spokesperson, Kasasa Checking gives that money back to you in cash rewards. In fact, you just bought me this cup of coffee. See how that works? Amazing! Free checking, cash rewards. Take back banking with Kasasa.
Welcome to Richland County's first artificial intelligence ATM. And if you car dance to the song you're listening to now, I will give you $50. See, that's something an ATM can never do.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Oh, we're serious.
Gosh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. We hope your day is a little bit better today.
Yes, thank you.
Final segment here on the Friday Night Pigskin for you folks out there tonight, and just one more highlight to show before we get involved in a little Jardy party. And to help me out with this highlight, let's bring in Josh Banks. He was out in Caledonia tonight in a very interesting matchup River Valley team, they've been coming on. They've been in the playoffs a bunch of times against Ashland, second year for Scott Valentine. So I felt like there was a lot of juice for this one.
There was a lot of offense for this one, combined over 600 yards of total offense between two teams, and a four-star quarterback that showed exactly what he is, and a River Valley senior quarterback who could be one of the top quarterbacks in the MOAC, and that's high standing when you got the likes of Bogdan Milder and DeVito in that conference.
Yes, sir.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the highlights. First score here, you're going to see Michael Franz, who had a huge night on the ground, is going to take it in from 20 yards out, puts Ashland up early, but Ebert's going to throw an absolute dot.
Oh, nice.
One-on-one coverage to Crest. Ebert again, he's going to take it 20 yards. He gets a lick on the 3, fights through it, stumbles his way into the end zone. Another touchdown pass for Ebert to Park. River Valley really had their offense rolling. They just ran into a buzzsaw. Gabe Bates going to take it in from 3 yards. Franz again from 33, slips 5 defenders, takes it, makes a house call. That ties it at 27, and this touchdown pass is going to give them the lead. After an interception to kind of seal the deal, Bernhard's going to seal the deal himself with a 10-yard jaunt. 41-24 is going to be your final, and this four-star recruit is a legit talent coming out of Ashland.
Yeah, so we've been hearing a lot about this kid over the last couple of years. He was getting the D1 offers last year as a sophomore, big summer, attended some camps, and you walked away feeling like he is as advertised.
He's a 6'5", prototypical pocket passer, but interviewing in postgame, his main goal this year was to focus on running the ball, show his versatility, but he makes those big arm pro-style throws look like clockwork. Cross field, cross body, out routes. Tried to throw 2 deep balls tonight, missed both of them. But the easy throws for him are the slants, the outs, the throws you see NFL quarterbacks make on Sunday is what I got to watch this kid make tonight.
But you kind of feel like, despite being all the accolades and he played pretty well, might have got outplayed on the other side.
Chase Ebert proved tonight that he can play with any team and any quarterback in the MOAC. At halftime, River Valley had 200 yards of offense. Chase Ebert had 195 of those 200 yards on the ground and through the air. And by the end of the night, they had 311 yards of offense. He had 250 by himself. He's an all-around player that's going to make some noise in the conference. And the River Valley Vikings are one of those sleeper teams in the MOAC that are going to give some teams some problems.
I think it's an incredibly deep league. It's going to be the most fun and exciting league to keep an eye on from top to bottom. You know, there's a lot of different teams in there that could make some noise. River Valley is certainly in that mix. Ashland, though, on the other side, I preseason picked them to win the OCC. Do they look to you like a team that can actually do that? It's a really tough, deep conference over there, too.
Defensively, they're going to have to figure some things out. They gave up a lot of big plays tonight. The bomb was single coverage. They played straight man-to-man defense on the outside, and they got burnt a couple times. Ebert made them look soft on the inside, scrambling, running through tackles. They figure if Coach Valentine gets them to figure some things out defensively, they'll absolutely have a shot to win the OCC, but we all know how good that conference is. It's going to be a battle and a half to get it. But next week, they get to go to Marion again, and they play Marion Harding, who came out victorious tonight. So another MOAC school that we all have high expectations for. We'll see what happens then.
And did you have a phenominee that you
I
wanted to
did.
drop on
Nathan
us tonight?
Bernhard, that four-star recruit,
Yeah.
goes for 170 yards through the air, 75 yards on the ground, so 250 yards and 3 touchdowns. He carried that team on his back tonight to victory.
All right, we'll be putting him in the nominee list coming up on Monday. You can see the entire assortment of players on the podcast when it returns. Thanks a lot, Josh.
Thank you.
All right, I think the moment that we've all been waiting for, or at least I know this man up there on the west side of Cleveland has been patiently waiting all night to be a part of this. Let's welcome in Andy Jardy for a Jardy party here since it is 1 a.m. That's right, and we're still doing the thing. Andy, you've been basically scouring through the Twitters, you've been watching our streams all night, and you've been putting together like some compilations of some lists. Let's begin with some cool things that you saw tonight.
Well, if you think the Jardy party is impressive, I can only imagine the party going on in Crestline tonight because the streak is over. They've snapped their 29-game losing streak with a 44-27 win at Buckeye Central. First win since November 1st of 2020. Shout out to Crestline for getting the big dub tonight. Love
yeah,
to
go
see it.
Bulldogs.
You love
Yeah,
to see
taught
it,
over there a
right?
few years ago. They own a special place in my heart, and I know it's been a struggle. Kids have been moving out of that place year in, year out, going to schools like Colonel Crawford over at Galion, and I'm told they actually got a transfer in from Lexington, and he went off tonight for over 200 yards, so it's about time the Bulldogs get a little bit of juice.
It was nuts. They had a chance to like run out the clock, and they were just chucking the ball downfield, just going for the win. It's fantastic. Kudos to them. I know that that's just been a miserable thing to be a part of, a losing streak going that long, that many years. But to finally get back into the win column is just, it's so special. I'm so happy for all of them over there. And speaking of streaking, Marion Local, who I think you mentioned on your broadcast tonight too, Brian, they never lose. They won their 49th straight game tonight, 45-6 over a team out of Indiana. And Travis, is Travis as happy as he can be tonight with the KMAC flexing its muscles here tonight, going 6-2 on the night, just really showing that they might be the best conference down there? I don't know. What are we thinking?
High praise. Yeah, he's actually, the sun's not even out, and he's got his gun out right now. So he's definitely, he's flexing for the KMAC all night.
Yeah, and a rough night for the OCC N10 combined, going 4-11. Struggled here tonight in week 1. Some of these teams trying to kind of figure things out here a little bit to start the year. But one team that really kind of showed who they can be, Ontario, very impressive. Getting down early in a rivalry game to Lexington, 14-0. They rattle off 31 unanswered points to come back and win that thing, 31-14. And then love to celebrate milestones, and looking around Ohio and anywhere else. Hawken up here in Geauga County. Coach Mark Imarino. Coach I gets career win number 200 as Hawken wins 42 over Rhodes. And if you had to guess, do you know Hawken's mascot, Brian?
Ooh, Hawkins. That sounds like a volcano to me. No?
It's actually in the name. It's in the name. They're the Hawken Hawks. It's just, it's perfect.
Too easy. How'd I mess that up? I was hoping maybe it would be like a Vecna or something. Maybe they just like switched it up after all the popularity, but that's a different Hawkins.
Like, yeah, totally.
Different story.
Like, yeah, they're like the Hawken Demogorgons or something. Yeah, that'd have been
even better.
Good.
All right, what else do you see? Any other top headlines that really caught your eye?
Those were kind of the top headlines that I saw going around Ohio football here in week 1. I'm sure we'll have more as the season progresses and the storylines kind of develop. But yeah, those were some things that popped off the chart for me.
Speaking of developing, Andy, we're going to have a very bold, beautiful graphic that's going to pop up for this starting next week. My new favorite segment, and we're going to start it off with just like a little patter, and then we're going to come in next week with an explosion. How about Andy's Dandies, baby? Tell us about it.
Oh yeah, we've got Andy's Dandies. We're gonna look for some, standout performances that you'll see across some games, and I've got 4 of them for you tonight. There's no set number on this. We're gonna, whatever really jumps out, we'll go with. We're gonna go back to Thursday night, which was actually now 2 nights ago.
Oh, wow.
We're gonna start with Galion wide receiver Jacob Chambers, 8 catches, 129 yards, 3 touchdowns in the first half, and that came in the 49-13 win over Wynford. Staying into the Thursday night action too, Colonel Crawford running back Connor McMichael, 11 carries, 175 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns, and then he also can show his ability to catch the ball too, with 2 catches, 46 yards. How good did Colonel Crawford look? You saw it in the highlights earlier too. You saw it on our channel last night as well. 55-13 win over River. And then you saw the late drive from Hopewell-Loudon to get the job done on the road at Carey by the sophomore quarterback Jacoby Ellis. The 2 quarterback system, not even the main guy. He looked so poised, leading them to victory on the road, going 16 of 23, 231 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he led that game-winning 79-yard drive that you saw here live and free on the OH.Report. In another game you saw here on the OH.Report, Northmor quarterback A.J. Bauer, 10 of 13 for 321 yards and 3 touchdowns. Brian, I'm not great at math, but that's a pretty good average, right? That's like 30 yards a pass if my math
I don't
serves
even
me
need
right
a calculator
this
for
late into
that.
the
I
night.
just know that's big time. every highlight, like Shane Young broke down, when he dropped back to pass, good things were happening. They were getting chunks. They were moving from one side of the field to the other and or getting in the end zone pretty much every single snap.
Yeah, it was unreal. I mean, just dropping back, throwing it, dropping it into just the perfect, basket. And
So you can imagine
Good
Travis
stuff.
is just
So
glowing
happy.
over in the corner. We've turned off all the lights around him, and somehow he's just illuminated.
Yeah, I figured all the lights were off on you too, and it's just the glow of Travis there. Oh,
Hey,
woo,
oh,
hey
that's
now.
the glow. Dang, I thought you got outside
There
in the
it is.
sunshine during the summer, bro. What's up with this?
I can't get out in the sun. It doesn't end well for me.
It doesn't go well for a lot of people, Andy. It also didn't go well for the OCC, like you mentioned, just 2-5 tonight. K-Mac, a lot better though, 6-2.
Yeah. The K-Mac looked really impressive tonight. The MOAC looked, pretty solid too, 5-3. I think Galion's going to be like pretty good this year. What are we thinking? Are they like sneaky dark horse there?
Joshua Banks over here was telling us before that Wynford game, he was like, this is not going to be close. Tiger's going to run him out of the building. The rest of us were like, I don't know. They only got a couple seniors on the team. I know there's some pretty good players, but let them prove something to us because there's a lot of young dudes. I think they might be kind of special. Until you see it, only hearing about it only matters so much. But now that we got it on wax, we got some highlights. I think that we're probably going to see a whole lot more touchdowns coming out of Tiger Country this year.
I agree. Looking forward to catching them and watching them continue to develop this season.
All right, a couple other conferences that we keep an eye on. Andy, I know that you did all of your homework here. N10, I knew we got the Eagles. They look great.
Yeah.
Not so much for everybody else, huh?
No, I mean, you had Seneca East tonight. They looked really good. Every time I looked up in that first half, it was like there was another, wide open receiver downfield for a big touchdown. So, yeah, Crawford and Seneca East carrying the banner for the N10. But, Carey loses a tough one at home. Upper had to go into the Castle. It didn't end well for them there. And, yeah, just, you mentioned this on your game tonight too, but, like, this time of the year is so good because you get, like, it's kind of like bowl season in college football where you get like conferences going at each other and you kind of get to establish, who is the best of the best playing all these non-conference games. So it's always fun right before you get into conference season to kind of see which conferences stand out.
And in the Firelands Conference, the team that we've all kind of pegged to be the front runner in there, Norwalk St. Paul, and they've done this before here in recent memory where they come out of the gates, they lose all their non-conference games because, they schedule some whoppers, but then once they start getting into the flow of league play, they typically come out on top. So Firelands Conference also wasn't great tonight.
It was not. But yeah, looking at that score too for St. Paul, I was like, am I reading this right? I believe they lost like 38-0 tonight, and I was like, that can't be. But that's exactly what happened. But Monroeville went on the road at Lakota. They dominated. They played really well. I think they're going to be one of the favorites out of the Firelands here this season.
So yeah, Monroeville too. I think maybe a sneaky pick that could be one of the front runners in that league this year. But yeah, St. Paul, they schedule hard at the beginning of the season. And Crestview as well. Andy, since you were tuning in a little bit, you saw that game, all the busted coverages. I had a tough time figuring out why Mr. Taylor was so open so many times. I mean, that kid, he's a shining star, but at the same time, it seemed like he got a lot of help from just like some schematic mishaps.
Yeah, and that's huge too. Like they went in there and did that. Like they went down early too, I believe, right? Didn't Crestview go up 7-0, and then it was all Seneca East after that. So yeah, hats off to Seneca East for pulling that win out on the road, and it doesn't get any easier for Crestview next week now, does it?
Yeah, they got a tough one coming up on Thursday. So if they can somehow bounce back, and I think even just be competitive in that game, it's going to bode really well for them moving forward. Travis is doing a little research, I think, on it right now. He probably actually just reading the scores, I think, over and over again of the K-Mac standings, and he's just like, oh yeah. Oh, what a
He'll
night.
sleep soundly tonight.
6-2, he likes it. Well, Andy, let's go ahead and put a bow here on week one. At 1:15 a.m. We're up here. We're doing this thing late, but just obviously a ton of fun from start to finish. I tell you what, when I woke up this morning, it really is. I come down the stairs. I was expecting there to be like a big tree in my living room with a star on top with all these presents that we get to open up. But it's just a good feeling that football's back, baby. Doesn't fall, it just hits a little different than the rest of the seasons because this is America, baby. This is what we do.
Yes, and it's been a nice distraction from the slumping Guardians season right now. So happy to have football back. Maybe some of the eyes will shift and then they'll start playing well again. But yeah, it's we're back and it's gonna go quick. It always does. fall weather always arrives right when high school football comes around too. It's been beautiful all week. Looks like everyone had a great weather tonight at their games too, and let's go. And it's not lost on me too. I just have to point this out. I'm sure Adam is the one creating these. I see the headlines. I see what my lower thirds are. Yeah. Well done.
We're just glad that you could join us, and we just hope that you had the time of your life.
Of course I did. Always do.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Andy. Hey, you're here. You've been waiting this whole time. You want to go ahead and close out the show?
No, I'll leave that up to you, actually.
Oh, well, if he's going to leave it up to me, I'm going to throw it over to Travis. He looks like he's got some words of wisdom.
Yes.
Isn't that like the 32nd Green Day concert Andy attended last night? We were talking about this on our stream, but dude is
14.
Dude just love. Hey,
14.
you go as many
Just
times.
lucky number 14.
Lucky number 14.
15,
I mean, hey, they put on a show.
15 will be in Pittsburgh here in a couple days.
PNC Park, baby, the most beautiful ballpark in America.
It's great.
Right?
I can't wait to see him.
Yeah.
Yep.
And looking for confirmation.
Ski kicked off year number 5 on the Pigskin, I think. Is this year 5? 4? Something like that. But it's the biggest one we've ever had. 14 highlights, multiple interviews.
I mean, guys, if you could just see, well, I guess I can show you a little insight to my notes. Does any of this make sense? You tell me, how do you run a show when there's old school notebook paper out of some kid named Harrison's notebook showing up? Some 4th grader's notebook lands on my desk, and this just in, we've got even more. I thought the show was over. I volley it over to you. You throw it right back over to my lair, and this is what happens. The notes just never stop, folks. So I'm going to go ahead and do what we need to do to close out the show. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll be back better than ever. We'll get our stuff together. Brian Skowronki, yeah, right. Those are guns out for the K-Mac world beater of the galaxy.
6-2, baby. What a start.
6-2, off to a great start. Oh, can we show Andy, too? He's showing a little bit of skin. He's at home.
Hey, there you go. Keep working the weights, bud.
I was doing all those fist pumps at the show last night, dude. I'm ready.
He's burned out. He can't even do it. All right. So for Andy and Travis, I'm Brian, Adam Thompson, Jory Hollenbeck, all the different OH reporters. We'll see you again next week. So long, y'all.